Okay, hi, this is Danny Doyle, FE1 time, and I have been putting off commentating this video for a while, because this is, actually a pretty important chapter. There's a lot that goes on this chapter, but also, in addition to, there being important stuff like, hey, we get our second warp staff, hey, we get, the manual, we get a bunch of treasures, right? This is also just a chapter that has a bunch of empty turns. We start by fighting these thieves. Nice, thief doubles our thief because 0% growth, so our units kind of suck. But there's a lot of turns where, we're just not doing much. This is the problem with Arcanea games. And, I can't super blame the map design because this was the first attempt at Fire Emblem. They don't really know map design fundamentals. It was one of the first SRPGs ever. I don't know if it was the first SRPG, but it was one of the first. But you see, we've got our paladins charging forward, right? We got our hero, our newly crowned hero, charging forward. Bantu and Ricardo are kind of just hanging out trying to kill the thieves before they retreat because one of them has a warp staff. There's just so much empty space here, right? There's a lot that goes on, but there's so much empty space. We have some units to recruit and some treasures to get, a lot of treasures to get, but look at this is not an economic use of space. This is not an economic use of space at all. Ricardo might die here, by the way. Nope, he does not. Okay. So, yeah. We get the Armor Slayer, and the other one has a Warp Staff. There's a mage that we need to kill on the left, but, other than that, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this map. I really just, I don't know. I'm killing, right now, so, for context, right now, I'm waiting for a loan office that we need to call to open up. So I'm kind of just, killing 20 minutes making this commentary. Minerva just destroys everything. I do really, like I said, we see the thunder, right? I do want to talk about, because I think the FE1 spell system is really cool, and I wish it would come back. The fact that spells are just fixed damage, there's no resistance, but also no magic, I think is really neat. I wish that spells, it's obviously, it's not, the most creative use of magic spells, but I wish that spells had something unique to them. Because here's the thing, Levin Sword does the same thing, by the way, that Lightning does. It's just 7 fixed damage. I think anyone who knows FE1 probably knows that, but just in case you don't, and just in case I didn't mention it in another video, Levin Sword is literally just Lightning. Modern Fire Emblem, not even just Modern Fire Emblem, basically almost all Fire Emblems, magic feels less magical than weapons, which is so weird. Magic is almost always just the most vanilla spells ever. There's no Brave Tome, there's no effective damage tome, with some exceptions. Three Houses has Dark Spikes, and Tellius had the Laguz effective tomes, and sometimes Wind tomes exist that are effective against flyers. But even then, it's usually hey, this is a 1 or 2 might tome. So, it's not even actually really effective. Because, I'm sorry, if you do 3x effectiveness on a 2 might tome just to make it 6 might, and that's an iron weapon's worth of might, I hate that. I hate that. Magic feeling so bland and vanilla. They kind of got away with it in the SNES era and the GBA era, when resistance was something that almost no units had, so it felt like the magical portion of it is you can't defend against it, right? Which is the idea that FE1 spells tend to sort of communicate, right? Is because resistance doesn't exist, it's true damage. We got warped, by the way. It's true damage, so you can't defend against it, right? And that does make it feel a little bit more magical, but in looking at modern Fire Emblem, starting with, Fire Emblem 9, because I think they realized, oh, player mages are too strong, we gotta give resistance to enemies, which, I think is a fair decision, but I think they went too far, and now magic just, not only does it feel worse than physical weapons, which is fine if that's what you want, especially because it has perpetual 1-2 range, but it feels less magical. I have there's a bunch of different variations of all the physical weapons. You know, you get Brave, they attack twice. You get Killer, they have a super high crit rate. You get effective damage against Knights. You get effective damage against Cavaliers. You get effective damage against Dragons, right? You get all these special properties. In some games, you even get more stuff like, for example, in Thracia, a lot of the swords feel magical. Obviously, there are the legitimately magical swords. But then there's stuff like Kingmaker that has like a bonus effect. There's a lot of weapons that have like bonus effects for equipping them. Meanwhile, magic in the vanilla games, like, what magic has like cool effects? Three Houses had some of the dark magic, right? Like, I guess the dark magic in GBA and the dark magic in Awakening and the dark magic in Three Houses has cool effects. Nosferatu is a cool effect. Luna is a cool effect, but like that is just what FE1 did with spells, right? But it is cool to be like, I'm gonna completely pierce your defense. Yeah, Awakening had a high crit rate, low hit rate variant of dark magic. That's kind of cool. And then Siege Tomes. Siege Tomes are really the last bastion of magical magic. And Three Houses giving splash damage to Meteor makes it feel even more magical. But like, I mean, discounting staves and white magic, because I was thinking about SOV, right? SOV and adding 2-3 range, like longer range magic, does make it feel a little bit more magical, but that's also kind of just like longbow. It's hard to say like, oh, Thunder having 1-3 range is cool in the same game where bows just have 1-5 range. I mean, they don't, they're 1-3 range, but like you get bow range +2 on any non-alm bow user. So like it's 1-5 range, like, so it doesn't even, like, even in that situation, it doesn't feel super magical. And again, with like Three Houses has some 3-range spells, and those can be cool early on. But then you get stuff like Retribution Gambit, and suddenly everyone has 10 range. On enemy phase, at least. And there's cool combat arts. Like, that's the other thing, is like, in Three Houses and SOV, the weapons, you get cool combat arts. And it's lame that spells don't get combat arts. I guess Engage had the infinite hit one. The sort of like Pokemon Swift Aerial Ace type thing in L-Slurge. But yeah, magic just doesn't feel magical anymore, and I think that's lame. I guess I should comment on what's actually happening in the playthrough, because we are in the treasure room. This is actually the map where I make the biggest misplay of the run. So I should probably talk about that. Because, you know, getting warp, you probably know, oh, now we have 2 warpers, we can enable more warp strats. Getting these units, okay, well, we have a second paladin. We have Tomas. Tomas is a, FE1 Tomas is kind of a famous, I feel like he's a unit who goes on a bell curve, where if you don't know anything about FE1, he's a shitty archer and he's bad. If you know a little bit about FE1, you know that promoting him makes him better than George because of the way FE1 promotion bonuses work. They promote you to class bases. And George has slightly worse than Sniper in a couple of stats. I think specifically it's speed and luck are the ones that Tomas beats him on. I know speed, I think luck. But Tomas's promotion is actually related to the mistake I make. So either promote Tomas, give him the manual, or give George the manual are the only 2 ways that you can use the Parthia. I could also have saved it for the Grativu, but I wanted Parthia because it comes earlier, right? I gave the manual to George, and there are actually some doubling thresholds he misses later on that Tomas does not miss. And also some getting doubled thresholds that he misses that Tomas does not miss. So, in the context of a zero growths run, I should have trained Tomas 2 levels, because he's got shitty archer stats, but 2 levels he can promote to sniper bases and just be a better George, right? And then I should have given him the manual, and he would have been my Parthia user. Ultimately, not a huge deal, because this is a very easy game, but it is a legitimate misplay. Like, it's suboptimal, I gain nothing from it, other than I guess, an extra chapter of Parthia because I don't promote Tomas on this map. But Tomas himself, I feel like, is a very bell curve unit. Once people learn that the way that promotion bonuses benefits him uniquely in FE1, there's sort of the like, oh shit, Tomas is better than George. And I would say Tomas is not actually better than George. You do still have to train him a couple of levels. George also has growths and joins earlier than this. George is potentially better than Sniper Bases by this point. Not in a zero growths playthrough, obviously, but like in a vanilla playthrough. And doesn't require babying, because Tomas really is shitty in those first couple levels. He does need some babying to promote on those levels. So I would say, like, Tomas is not better than George. He is better than he appears, but he is not better than George. That is the opinion that I hold. And obviously, you know, it's not like objective or anything. But it's, yeah, that's just sort of how I feel. I've got the Armor Knights and Medea going to storage, by the way, because they're not doing anything for this, and Boa. Like, because FE1 inventory management is always on the mind when you're playing any sort of FE1 playthrough, if there's someone who's not doing anything for the map, you send them back to storage and you have them do inventory management bullshit. It's just sort of what you do. The nice thing about training Tomas, right, is FE1 experience formula is very kind to him, because the experience that you get is independent of your level versus the opponent level. So, like, I guess it is a little unkind in that you can't accelerate things by having him kill pre-promotes in order to be like, I just need 2 levels, just kill, like, 2 or 3 pre-promotes, we get it. But at the same time, he can just shoot these clerics, and, like, it's not that much experience. When he kills them, he'll get a little bit. It is pretty obnoxious to train him, even outside of a zero growth setting. Like, his stats are very bad. But we're gonna have George kill the boss here. That's why I barriered him up. You can see, like, his speed is already suffering a little bit. I mean, it's against a boss, and it's with a heavy bow, but still, at the same time, like, I don't know if Sniper Tomas would have been doubled there or not, and I'm honestly too lazy to, like, exactly check the numbers. It's just, we're just gonna have to assume that I know there are later thresholds where Sniper Tomas is not doubled, right? Also, translation issues, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that was supposed to be Ooh, no, that's definitely glitch translation. Look, the NES translation, because this is not on the Switch. This is on, like, actually on the, well, it's not on factual NES, but it's like, you know, I'm using Nintendo PC. It's the fan translation, though, so it's not going to be an exact science. Here, I'm just sort of, like, debating what the best way to kill the boss is, just because he is really the only tough enemy on this map. Well, there's a Manakete in the bottom left corner who you can just safely ignore. And the fun thing about that Manakete is he drops a Vulnerary. So if you decide to go fight this hard optional boss, you get a Vulnerary. Which is not super valuable at this point in the game. It's kind of, like, FE1's approach to healing items is very weird, because you don't get any at the start, and then they're like, hey, we're gonna lock some behind, like, really, really hard side objectives, like this Manakete. You want a Vulnerary, right? There's, like, no shops for a while as well. Like, you just are relying on staff healing. And it's not, like, a huge deal because of the way FE1 is structured and how easy and low quality the enemies are and whatnot. But in FE11, when a lot of the maps and features remain the same, but things are, like, elevated, right? Stats are inflated without any thought to playtesting, and has the knock-on effect of, like, risk suddenly just becomes, ugh. So anyway, you see there with the silver bow, George is weighed down enough to get doubled by Boganon. You see my mouse, by the way, sometimes. So here I'm just, like, shuffling everyone back, trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do about this boss? I guess to reinforce, I talked over it, but to reinforce my point about the Tomas versus George thing is, George is at level 6 right now. Like, he's gotten 5 levels. He doesn't have phenomenal growths, but, like, that's the thing, is, like, because of the way the EXP formula works, George is getting as much experience as Tomas is from kills, and he has been for 3.5 maps. Counting, like, this map and his join map combined as a half map. And then, like, you know, obviously, you could have warp skipped one. I warp skipped the Jake one. That's, I feel like, a good candidate to warp skip. Not even, like, that it's hard, it's just, like, annoying. It's just, like, annoying, so I warp skip it. So, like, maybe you didn't get all the experience for, like, multiple maps worth of experience for George, but, like, I don't know, I think just even using him a little bit, he's going to have stats that are comparable to what Tomas will be when he promotes. Like, this is the anti-Tomas propaganda. Babying Tomas, I'm not even going to say it's not worth it, because, like, it is, if you want a second sniper, but, like, George is just better. Tomas is a replacement unit. He's a better replacement unit than he would appear at first, but he is ultimately a replacement unit. He's just stealthily, he's not the Gordon replacement unit, he's the George replacement unit. Also, I forgot that guy moves, because he doesn't move in, FE3, Book 1. Bantu is invincible here, though, so Bantu's just gonna, because this is a one tile, right? So Bantu's just gonna... Oh, wait, no, it's not. Fuck. Damn, I got caught off guard in the playthrough, and I got caught off guard here. This is actually potentially bad. I mean, I definitely get out of this, right? Because this is post-commentary. But, like, damn, that was, See, not being able to read the terrain super well in the NES has come back to finally bite me. Yeah, that's a little bit not great. So, the bottom right corner, where the paladins are outside, fun fact, in FE3, those are soldiers. I don't really know what the reason for the change was, other than, I guess, this is an indoor map. So everyone's dismounted. I don't think that portion is considered to be outdoor, even in FE3. I think that was one of the changes they made, is that's also indoor. They also changed a little bit what items are where. I guess, because everything's been going so fast, I should talk about everything that we got. We got Orion's Bolt, we got Nightcrest, boots. Well, so, we're getting boots, we're getting Nightcrest. We're getting an energy ring, and there was some gold as well. But yeah, we are just Minerva. The story of the playthrough, right, is Minerva kills everything. So Minerva gets the Nightcrest. That's going to be Harden's promotion item. Just missed with the Javelin. Javelin's actually pretty bad in early game. It's not as bad in FE1 as it is in FE3. Like, you can see that Minerva actually literally can double with it. Harden is running back for his Nightcrest. And, yeah, this is, just the Tomas training arc. Woo, 4 experience. See, it's like, it's so slow going. It's so slow going. He needs 2 levels. He needs 2 levels. Tomas fan club. Like, don't get me wrong. He is an interesting unit, and I think that that's part of why people like him, is he's cool. He's different, right? When a unit is, like, different and cool, people like him. When the way in which a unit is good is different from everyone else. But, like, you have to baby him so much, and if it's Chip, he doesn't get nothing out of it. Like, he's gotta get kills. That's the end of the map, though. We're just cleaning up inventory stuff. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Thankfully, I have successfully completed my mission of killing time until the business I need to call is open, and so I can actually call them. And that's pretty good. Yeah, there's the boots, by the way. You'll never guess what unit I'm giving the boots to. Hint, it's Minerva. Yeah, I do think in vanilla, Minerva's probably a good candidate for it as well, but especially in Zero Growths, like, where she is our hard carry, the hard carry to end hard carries, right? She's getting all of the stat boosters, she's getting all of the everything. She has really good base stats, she has a really good starting class. She's the only Wyvern we have for the majority of the game. Her bulk is phenomenal. FE1 Minerva is something else. She is something else, let me tell you. I do also think that, like, Marth is a potentially interesting candidate in FE1, especially if you're doing the Marth carry. I gave it to Marth. Why did I give it to Marth? Why did I give it to Marth? I'm trying to remember back. Oh, no. No, I traded it to Minerva. Okay. I misread. It's going so fast, it's hard to see. FE1 is going so fast. I have this on 3.5 times speed. I could have done it a little bit slower, but I'll be honest, the amount of empty turns there are, I didn't want to sit through at slower than 3.5 times speed. Here I am just, like, checking over everyone's inventory before we siege. I'm sorry if this was too fast to be watchable. It will happen again. FE1 is an incredibly slow game. And I love it, but I also hate it, if that makes any sense. Like, item management, it's so frustrating dealing with the item management. I know that that's, like, part of the difficulty, and it can be interesting, kind of, but, like, I don't know. I don't like feeling like I need to give, make save states every fucking map. Also, like, okay, it's not bad. It's funny that you drop items to make room for stuff. Subscribe.